Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of The Watch Collector. My name's Ollie. Today we're going to be having a look at a brand called Cyrus. It's not one that I've had a great deal of interaction with over the years, and so I'm excited to have a look at some of their pieces today. Before we do, of course, the obligatory wristwatch check, and today I'm wearing the Patek Philippe 5726A. Cyrus is a family-owned watch manufacturer based in Le Locle in Switzerland, and was founded in 2010. Over the years, it's deliberately set out to create its own brand identity through a futuristic mix of not only shapes but also materials in relation to its cases, but also, perhaps more importantly, its mechanics and the way that it sets its movements up. Intrinsically linked to that is the fact that one of their experts that works with them is a gentleman called Jean-François Moujon, who is an incredibly talented watchmaker and has been involved with significant other brands as well as Cyrus, including, by way of example, MB&F. And so if you're familiar with MB&F and the kind of movements that are incorporated within their watches, then you're going to have an idea of the kind of level that he works at and the movements within Cyrus. So we're going to have a look at a couple of their models. One is their Solo Tempo, and one is their GMT Retrograde. So the Solo Tempo is 46 millimeters in diameter, 14.8 millimeters in depth. It has got it's a stainless steel tonneau case, as you can see, and it has the now signature, shall we say, twin crown setup, which we'll get to in a minute. The movement itself is the CYR1015 with 42 hours power reserve, and it's 50-meter water resistant. This is, as you can tell straight off the bat, this is a sports watch through and through. I really like the rubber strap. It's supple, but still has quite some heft to it, as you can see. And also, you now know the figures. 46 millimeters, 14.8 millimeter depth, stainless steel. This is a hefty watch, and so you need to have that security. This strap definitely does that, and on top of that, my favorite, a nice deploying clasp, and that snick is really quite satisfying. So what I will do is I'm going to throw this on the wrist now before we move on to the GMT Retrograde. So 46 millimeters sounds big, and it is. This is not a watch for the faint of hearted. It stands out. It is the way that the bezel and the case and the lugs are finished, integrated with the strap, is instantaneously Cyrus. I'm not sure there is another brand out there that is able to combine, certainly at this price point, which is around £7,000 plus VAT, I should add, for this kind of level and finishing, whether it's the beveling, the satin finish, brushed finishes, even the what appears to be like a sandblasted finish within the lugs as it tapers towards the strap. At this level, they've really done a great job. And let's face it, in that kind of size, legibility is not going to be a problem. It has a full loom, and so this is, without doubt, a striking entry into the sports watch genre for Cyrus. I'll take it off the wrist and show you how the crowns work. So, in order to keep with their design aesthetic, as you can see, they've still got the crown at 3 and at 9. On the Solo Tempo, the crown at 9 is simply there for aesthetics only. You still have the working crown at 3 o'clock, so you can obviously wind the watch and, of course, set the time simply by pulling it out and setting it in the normal way. Moving on to the GMT Retrograde. As you can see, we've got two examples here. Both of them are in grade 5 titanium. Of course, we have the Palm Green limited edition, one of 50 on full grade 5 titanium bracelet, an integrated bracelet with through the lugs, and in grade 5 titanium but black DLC coated. So what I'll do is I'll show you how these watches work, and it's quite interesting. I do like the way that they've maintained that 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock crown. It's very, very distinctive. So what Cyrus have done here is they have used the main hours and minutes as your local time, and then you've got an inner ring to designate the local time. So as is usual, on the 3 o'clock crown, that's to wind the watch, pull the crown out, you can see that that is moving what they would designate as the local time. Push it back in, and then at 9 o'clock you're using that crown to adjust your travel time, and that is the inner ring. Sharp, good engagement. So what you're getting is not only you're getting additional complication by moving from the Solo Tempo to the GMT Retrograde, you're also getting an increase in stamina, shall we say. They're still hefty watches, 42mm in diameter, 13.9mm in depth, but they're slightly more incognito, shall we say, maybe that's not quite the right way to put it, than of course the Solo Tempo is. This is a beast. This one, people are going to know, regardless of what else you're wearing, that this is a Cyrus timepiece. These are, as I said, slightly easier, I think, to get away with in more environments. Let's throw it on the wrist and see how they wear. Okay. As you can see, those 3mm make a big difference. In fact, no, sorry, 4mm make a big difference. 46mm down to 42mm. It's still got size, but I think that's more because of the integrated lugs with the bracelet. I suspect, and also perhaps the color, given the fact that it's full titanium. I think the black DLC will look smaller on the wrist, but even so, it wears well. Still, this is something that is 100% for someone who wants people to know that they are wearing a complicated, and let's face it, it is a complicated wristwatch, of course. It's not a perpetual calendar tourbillon, but it is a complicated wristwatch with Cyrus's signature skeletonizing of the dial. It's very pretty, and what I like about this is the palm green, as they determine it, is very subtle, but in the sunlight it really does look lovely. And on top of that, when you flip it over to see the mechanism, the rotor is in the same color green. It's a very, very nice touch. This is definitely, again, this is their sporty line. Let's have a look at the DLC. I really like the close of that clasp. It's slightly different to the bracelet, of course, because that's double deployant. It's a single, but it has a really nice feel to it when it closes. Visually, sounds like an obvious thing to say, but because it has the black DLC, it shrinks around your wrist more. And coupled with the fact that it's got that really super supple rubber strap, it definitely hugs the contours of your wrist. I think that the contrast of the blue, and they have a white superluminova that comes out with the blue radiance. So that's a really nice touch to kind of tie it all in. All in all, I think it's a really nice contrast. And this tones it down. I would normally go for a watch with green in it. As some of you may know, I have watches that are, well, predominantly green, if not almost completely green. But I really like the way that the DLC and the blue interplays here. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think the 46mm is too big or just right? Is 42mm too big, just right for these kinds of watches? Don't forget, Cyrus is really looking to try and impose its personality. And so it may not be to everyone's taste. I'd love to know if it's to yours. I love what they're doing. I think they're in creating their own brand identity. I think they've been very brave in that. And I would love to know what you think about the Cyrus Solo Tempo and the Cyrus GMT Retrograde. Guys, thanks so much for watching. That's enough for now. We'll see you next time.